faithfully delivering value, interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today, the book we're exploring is The Hidden Self. The author, David Eagleman, has a truly remarkable life story. First, Eagleman is an accomplished neuroscientist who's published over 100 high-impact academic papers. Currently teaching at Stanford University, he also serves as science consultant for hit TV shows like Westworld and Perception. Not only has he founded his own tech company, but he's even graced magazine covers as one of the most innovative minds. Simply put, Eagleman is a charismatic scientist with serious star power. Alongside his research, Eagleman consistently brings cutting-edge neuroscience and cognitive science to the public. Having studied English literature at Oxford, he writes brilliantly, making complex science vivid and accessible. His columns and popular science books attract massive readerships and critical acclaim. Today's book, The Hidden Self, exemplifies such science writing, rigorous yet wonderfully readable. Before we dive in, let's unpack the book's title meaning. As neuroscience consistently shows, most of what we do, think, and feel happens outside conscious control, meaning a huge part of our self remains hidden. Here's another perspective. Picture an iceberg. Consciousness is just the visible tip, while the vast unconscious lies submerged beneath. And connecting metaphor to book's purpose reveals precisely this underwater realm. Now, you might associate subconscious with consciousness, but historically it's often confused with unconscious. Today, subconscious appears mainly in Freudian theory, while modern science prefers unconscious for non-conscious processes. To understand this hidden self, the book explores three key questions, starting with, how exactly does our unconscious operate? So, what's the deal between the unconscious and consciousness? And if we figure out the unconscious, can we really grasp our whole self? Sorting through these questions points straight to that ultimate philosophical puzzle that's bugged humanity forever. That is, who am I? How do we define the self? All right, let's take these questions and follow the author to uncover that hidden self. Maybe after this explanation, you'll see yourself in a whole new light. First off, how does the unconscious actually operate? Or, as the book puts it, what is this hidden self all about? The author says the hidden self covers a lot, like instincts and learned habits, and it all relies on brain circuits. To dig into this hidden self, we need to get how the brain works physically and how our minds tick psychologically. To dive deeper into how the hidden self runs, let's chat about vision. For most people, vision packs way more info than hearing, smell, taste, or touch. It's the top sense. A third of our brain's neurons handle vision, making it feel like our eyes just beam images straight to our minds. But actually, there's a deep hidden process behind vision. Yeah, it's complex, but I want to walk you through it. Because once you get this hidden vision thing, it could totally flip how you see the world. When we open our eyes, we see it all. Crowds, bright ads, busy streets, and it seems normal, like our eyes are high-res cameras. Open them, and bam, world's right there. But the truth is, seeing is super brain heavy. That's because what our eyes see isn't real or whole. Our brain has to fill in the gaps. Adding on, for one, all visual scenes are kind of ambiguous. Like those trick photos. You think it's a fancy car, but pull back and it's just a tiny model up close. Sports cars and models can project identical images visually. To distinguish such similar information, the brain must perform complex calculations and analyze the environment to tell them apart. Moreover, all vision is essentially an illusion. You think everything in your sight is clear, but in reality, your peripheral vision is very blurry. To describe it, the resolution of human peripheral vision is like looking outside through a fogged-up window. Under normal circumstances, the brain uses eye muscles to direct your high-resolution vision, that is, the visual field. The central part focuses directly on things you're interested in. Well, when your central vision is highly focused to prevent the image from looking too weird, the brain automatically fills in the peripheral details. Although not real, it makes you feel like your peripheral vision is clear. To prove this, you can try a little game. Write on 2 sticky notes. Hold one in each hand while focusing on the left one, then slowly move the right one toward the edge of your vision and the rain. Even a slight movement makes the words on the right unreadable in your side vision. Just try this experiment once, and you'll be amazed at how blurry your peripheral vision is. To resolve ambiguous scenes and fill in peripheral vision, the brain must do massive computations to accurately process the light entering the eyes, and this process requires the brain to learn. Yes, you heard right. Even simple vision requires the brain to actively learn. To prove that vision requires learning, the author tells the story of a fortunate blind man. There was a blind athlete named Mike May who lost his sight in an accident at age 3, but 43 years later, he got a new surgery that restored his vision. After the surgery, the doctor removed his bandages in front of his family. Mike smiled, but that smile was full of embarrassment. Because although his eyes worked fine, he stared ahead in confusion. His brain didn't know how to handle the flood of information from his eyes. He could sense lines, colors, and light, but he couldn't recognize his family's faces or tell apart the furniture and layout in the room. What we call seeing isn't just light hitting the retina. More importantly, the brain needs to interpret those signals, and that requires training. When he first regained vision, Mike's brain often got confused. Like when he moved his head left, why did the scene shift right? We ordinary folks experience this daily. Our brains predict it perfectly. So we easily grasp why scenes change when we turn our heads. So, what exactly does the brain learn to see? To find out, we need more real cases. About 10% of people losing vision later in life get visual hallucinations, meaning they're blind but still see objects, flowers, birds, people, buildings. Of course they know these aren't real. Documented for centuries but misunderstood, some even misdiagnosed with dementia. Most listeners can't imagine these blind hallucinations firsthand, but you've definitely dreamed. In dreams you seem to have vision, seeing all sorts of things. Yet, our eyes stay shut while sleeping. So where does dream vision come from? Connecting these cases, neuroscientists proposed a vision theory. Through daily exposure, the brain builds an internal model predicting retinal data. Visual experience only happens when predictions match sensory input. That's how we understand what we see. We recognize flowers or dogs because shapes match our brain's model. Meanwhile, the brain compares new retinal data with this model, spotting differences. When predictions fail, the brain adjusts the model to fit new phenomena. This system means we see not reality, but the brain's processed version.
By this theory, dream visuals finally make sense.
They come from your brain's hidden model. But in dreams, we lack real vision to correct the model. So in dreams, we often see wildly imaginative scenes. Nowadays, many scholars believe it's not just vision. All types of perception work this way. Building internal models from accumulated data, matching predictions with sensory input to make sense of our world. Our other mental activities share similar characteristics.
Let me test you. Without looking, can you instantly say which letter is to the right of Y?
Or which one's above 5? You might pause and still get it wrong. But if you type fluently, your fingers find letters instantly. No looking or thinking needed, like they just know. Because keyboard layouts become hidden models embedded in your brain. This applies to riding bikes, tying shoes, or balancing plates at buffets. If asked to describe the steps, you'd struggle, but when doing it, everything flows naturally. This is your brain's hidden models at work, from senses to memories to movements. Countless studies prove our normal functions run in ways we never realize. That's the hidden self. Why does the brain work this way? 3 reasons: speed, energy efficiency, and safety. First, hidden mode decisions enable faster reactions. In tennis, facing a 145 kilometers per hour ball, there's a 200 millisecond delay from retina to action.
If you consciously choose forehand or backhand, you'll miss the shot.
Trained athletes don't debate. They rely on ingrained practice for optimal moves. Often this hidden mode even gives predictive abilities. Like catching a baseball, you predict its path before it arrives. That's because the brain has an internal gravity model. Its parameters constantly adjust through life experiences, predicting where and when balls land. Plus, energy saving is another perk of the hidden mode. As energy-dependent creatures, conservation is crucial for us. In 1997, supercomputer Deep Blue defeated world chess champion Garry Kasparov. Humans lost the match but won big in energy efficiency. Kasparov used just 20 watts. Deep Blue consumed thousands. Kasparov played at body temperature. Deep Blue ran scorching hot, needing constant fans. Kasparov's brain efficiency came from lifelong dedication turning chess strategies into hidden neural algorithms. Researchers once studied Tetris players using brain imaging. When first learning Tetris, subjects strategized block placements. Their brains burned massive energy while highly active. After 1 week of mastery, their brain energy consumption plummeted during gameplay. Tetris skills became hardwired, handled by specialized, efficient neural programs. Another key reason hidden mode protects our core programming from alteration. Well, like critical system files locked on your PC, too vital to risk tampering or crashes. Take mate selection. Traits like height or voice warmth feel magnetically attractive, but you don't know why. These preferences are hardwired into your nervous system, completely inaccessible. They are. Imagine if this hidden mode were editable, you might crush on unexpected genders or even fall for a frog. So, if you don't want to randomly fall for a frog, better keep your distance from that hidden self. To summarize briefly, whether perception, memory, or other mental activities, much operates in hidden mode. This allows faster reactions and energy-efficient thinking in our environment. Plus, hidden mode protects core survival strategies from random changes. Now we've got a basic grasp of how the hidden self operates.
So here's the puzzle. How are hidden consciousness and the unconscious related?
To understand their connection, we first need to define consciousness. Scientists studying animal behaviors, like sea slug contractions or rat reward responses, reached a conclusion. Many brain circuits work simply, reacting to specific stimuli to handle tasks. The author calls these basic circuits zombie systems. These zombie systems form the physiological basis of our brain's hidden mode. But sometimes zombie systems clash, like when a red egg in a gull's nest drives it berserk. Red triggers avian aggression, while the egg shape provokes brooding instincts. So, the poor bird wants to attack and incubate the egg, both circuits firing, but lacking actual brooding ability, it just freaks out. Compared to rats, slugs, or gulls, humans have far more complex behaviors and conflicting zombie systems. Thus, we desperately need a high-level program to coordinate these parts. That program is consciousness, its main job being to direct zombie systems, set priorities, and assign tasks. Physiologically, specific brain regions handle these functions. The prefrontal cortex, for example, handles planning and decision-making. This area is likely consciousness is physical base, varying across species according to their intelligence. The more zombie systems an animal has, the more it needs conscious leadership. Rats and seagulls are like small companies needing modest management, but the human body's a massive multinational, requiring an outstanding CEO. Consciousness is that CEO, setting strategy and tasks. The brain's hidden parts, the real executors, are like countless anonymous employees. So when does consciousness kick in? Simply put, it activates when novelty appears. When zombie subsystems run smoothly, consciousness stays off duty. Only during problems do zombie systems alert consciousness. As mentioned earlier, consciousness engages when reality clashes with our brain's models. Recall your daily routine: unlocking, turning the knob, entering home. Pure mechanical unconscious behavior for you. Your brain memorizes every detail: key texture, knob position, door weight, squeaky hinges. So consciousness isn't needed. But if someone tampered with your doorknob or sneaked inside, you'd notice instantly. That moment shatters expectations. Consciousness launches, analyzing, retreat and call police, or confront the intruder. We only gain environmental awareness when sensory input defies predictions.
This explains why tickling makes you laugh, unless you tickle yourself.
Others' tickles are unpredictable. Your own movements are foreseen, so no surprise, no itch. So consciousness coordinates our mental activities, but only for rare special tasks. When predictions hold, consciousness fades, letting the brain work autonomously. Though small, this precious fraction makes us Earth's most remarkable species. Now we know how the hidden unconscious works and how the conscious part interacts with it. But does combining both hidden and visible consciousness fully explain the self? Sadly, the answer is no. Now we must revisit the book's other key concept: self. Discussions about defining self often drift into metaphysics, souls, or free will. But the author offers a neuroscience perspective. He suggests defining self means seeing the brain as its densest embodiment.
This sounds baffling at first.
Think of it like this. My hometown's Shenyang, Lian. When asked, I could say Shenyang Lian, or even Northeast China. All describe it, but Shenyang embodies hometown most intensely. Similarly, the brain embodies self most intensely. This lukewarm answer isn't satisfying, but what follows explains the author's vagueness and how we should view ourselves. Before defining self, let's share a true story. In 1848, Phineas Gage, a 25-year-old railroad worker, had a 1-meter iron rod blast through his skull, taking part of his brain with it. Miraculously, Gage survived without losing consciousness. After 2 months' recovery, his health returned, but his personality transformed completely. Pre-accident, colleagues called him smart, energetic, and determined. Post-accident, he became erratic, impatient, and foul-mouthed, utterly unlike before. Doctors noted his strong man's passions, but childlike intellect and behavior. Friends declared, he's no longer Gage. Similar stories unfold in every neurology ward.
Strokes, tumors, epilepsy, all brain injuries create Gage-like cases.
Both consciousness and the unconscious have corresponding brain structures. Even minor brain damage can cause issues like losing music comprehension, color recognition, or basic decision-making. As the author says, unless your brain components stay intact, the you known by loved ones vanishes. This confirms the author's point about defining self. Your brain state defines who you are, but defining self isn't just about the brain. Our endocrine and immune systems deeply interconnect with it. Together, these form what the author calls the broad nervous system, inseparable from our chemical environment. Food nutrients, air pollutants, water impurities all impact our nervous system, some intensely. The most direct influencers are certain drugs. If diagnosed with depression, doctors might prescribe SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. As the name suggests, these affect serotonin uptake, which boosts mood and pleasure. Someone sobbing in bed might take SSRIs, then rally, dressing up to job hunt or meet friends, all from neurological rewiring. This might revise your self-definition. Who am I? Depends on your entire neurobiological foundation. Yet we're far from the full answer. Self is a giant puzzle needing more pieces. Genes, for instance, are crucial self components. Studies show certain genes make violent crime 8 times more likely. The starkest genetic impact, Huntington's disease, a rare disorder, typically midlife onset. Early symptoms include involuntary dance-like movements, hence the name.
As it progresses, brain degeneration causes aggression and psychiatric disorders.
Motor skills severely decline, loss of speech, walking, eventually all self-care abilities. Yet such a terrifying disease stems from just one gene mutation. Neuroscience. Scientist Sapolsky once marveled. One altered gene among thousands can transform personality. And it's not just genes. Everything around us exerts influence. Women on their periods experience mood dips. Immigrants face schizophrenia risks. Traumatic upbringings increase antisocial personality rates. Even gut bacteria affect mental states. Or consider daily life. Just a few drinks transform many into different people. Thus, we're lost again in the maze of defining self. When defining self, factors like genes, medications, upbringing, education, diet, occupation, do these count as part of the self? Exactly. That's the difficulty. Influences on human identity are overwhelmingly complex. We can't even pinpoint self's boundaries. Ultimately, the book offers this compromise. Well, who you are depends on vast networks, Your true self remains tethered to your brain. Like it or not, this may be neuroscience's best current answer. The universe exceeds our imagination. Our inner self is equally vast, this hidden self with unique goals and operating patterns. The brain, that mysterious organ, shapes and rules our inner world. Fortunately, we possess both technology and will to unravel its mysteries. Each deeper brain exploration reminds us the universe's greatest marvel is ourselves, thus, the hidden self. That concludes our book reading. Notes are below the audio. See you tomorrow.